Welcome to the fifth and final round of this Modern League with Affinity. We are 2 and 2, so let's see if we can pull it back. The most epic game of Storm versus Affinity that I have ever seen was just played, so you should definitely see that if you're tuning into this video. Like, it's one back in the series. It's hilarious. This hand is extremely borderline. On the one hand, if you ignore the fact that I am severely flooded and really screwed to any kind of interaction, it's like nice and fast, and I love playing, you know, attacking for 6 lifelink in the air on turn 2. On the other hand, if he has a removal or discard, it really sucks. That said, like, I have 4 of the hell, even 5 of the cards I really want. So, I mean, if I mulligan this and saw this as a 6-card hand, I'd be like, yeah, sure, this is a pretty decent 6. So, just because this is a bad 7 doesn't mean I would expect my 6 to be better, and that's why I'm keeping it. Because, I mean, if you mulligan because you're, oh, it's the Affinity mirror match, or I'm playing against Lantern. No, it's Affinity. Let's see. How is this hand against Affinity? Way too many cards down. Black? Hey, there you go. Alright, this is really bad because I need more creatures. The plating is nice, don't get me wrong, but, like, I really need more creatures. I guess Welding Jar actually is a creature. Mostly because he's gonna block my Vault Scourge, and then I'm gonna regenerate my Vault Scourge in combat. How often do I regenerate things in combat and not from removal spells? I don't know, but not very often. What would be good here? Galvanic Blast. I would definitely take a Galvanic Blast. That attack makes no sense. Or not attacking. Like, jumping here is not a good play. Like, okay. There is no logical reason why he didn't attack here. Jumping is awful, because you have a Steel Overseer in play. This amuses me. Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna watch this later. So I ran into this guy at, he commented on a few videos, and then I ran into him at GP Oklahoma City. I spent quite a few rounds talking to him between matches and stuff. He gave me some replacement sleeves, because my sleeves were kind of out of shape. Really nice guy. Great to meet him in person, and now I play against him and start flaming his misplays. So, whoops. Anyways. Yep. Yeah. So anyways, he is in command and control of this match now that game. now that he has a Steel Overseer in play and untapped. Ravager's not very good here. Well, so what I've got going for me is that he can't race, and so he needs to grind me out. What I don't have going for me is that he has a Steel Overseer, and so he wants to grind me out anyways. The awkward thing is basically... Okay. I'm not sure about this. I don't like that attack. Like... So is the plan to... The plan is to animate Blink Moth and jump? I mean, I guess, but... No, just instant speed, equip the cranial plating over here. Yeah, so anyways, the I see what he's saying. So he meant to, so he meant to, all right. I recognize that this video is going to take longer, than most of my videos, so this is going to take longer than most of my videos, so I'm going to spend some time teaching finer points of Affinity matchups. Sorry, I was typing and I'm not good at typing and talking. So I'm going to use this video as an opportunity to try to teach some of the finer points of Affinity versus Affinity, because I feel that this matchup is really difficult. In the Affinity versus Affinity mirror, there are two types of games. One is where one side has a significantly better draw than the other and just crushes the other person. And those games are not one-sided, and it doesn't matter who's better. Like, the guy who just has, like, oh, look, I have turn 1 Steel Overseer into Cranial Plating Attack into Master of Ethereum. Woohoo! And the other guy's like, well, I had, I played it Ravager on turn 2. So there's those kind of games. Then there's the second one, which is more like this. This is closer to where both sides have tools, and it tends to be not who so it tends to be not who outplays the other person, but the first person to make a bad mistake will probably lose. And the biggest mistake that you can make in the Affinity mirrors is being too aggressive or not punishing your opponent for being too aggressive. So For example, the previous turn, when he didn't attack, he was tapped out. He knew. So, rewinding, if you'll remember, he had a 0-2 Ornithopter and a 0-1 Signal Pest, no +1/+1 counters, tapped out, couldn't do anything. I had no way to block him. So I had no way to block him. And so he should have attacked to get that free damage. However, here, he's not particularly incentivized to attack me in the manner he did. His game plan should be, I want to get as much value out of the Steel Overseer as possible and make profitable trades, because he has 3 cards in his hand, which presumably are not lands, because if they were lands, he would have played them. And so he probably has a whole bunch of creatures. He sees that I've got a lot of non-creature mana sources in play, so his game plan should have been, I'm going to sit behind the Steel Overseer, I will trade 1-for-1 you until I run you out of resources, and then my Steel Overseer will have made things big enough that you can't, like, keep going. The Cranial Plating helps offset that for my side of the board, but anyways, so I got distracted by talking about this and responding to him to not be super rude to my opponent. So, returning to what I was saying earlier, most of the games I play against other Affinity players where it's not a stomp, I often win those games because my opponent will make an attack that I don't die to and leave me counterattacks that I can kill them with. And this is a perfect example of that. He could have forced me to trade off resources in a way that benefited him, because as he has more creatures in play and in hand, his creatures are less valuable than mine. So if he can trade his creatures for my creatures, he is winning that exchange. So he just wants to sit back, trade his creatures for mine. He can do that because I can't really... I can't really punish him for sitting back and, you know, keeping up creatures. Sorry, teaching in the middle of a match is hard. Also, I should probably go sideboarding because I'm running out of time. Anyways, these are out. Those are in. These are in. Take out a Signal Pest. I go back and forth on Thoughtseize. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's awful. I think I'm going to go up 1 and take that out. I know he's bringing in grids, and I don't want to get gridded, but at the same time, if you don't nab something sweet, it's kind of bad. See, this is one of the hands where I can easily see myself getting run over. It's very clunky. The drum, so like right now I'm looking at turn 1 Drum, turn 2 Scourge, turn 3 Overseer, and that's just kind of a little bit too slow. If I draw a land, it's okay. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to use the next Cranial Plating, because I'm just never going to have the mana to do it. But if I draw a land, I'm in good shape. Him mulliganing to 6, I'm actually more inclined to keep slower hands, because him mulliganing to 6 means that he's not going to have an incredibly fast start, or at least is much, much less likely to. And so I can use the fact that if he's not going to be super aggressive, I can take my time more, which means that I can keep a greedier hand and get more paid off for having extra cards compared to him. So, oh, and he mulligans to 5? Well, that's not good for him. Um... Okay, let's see, what was I talking about? Since I didn't really plan to like try to make an affinity versus affinity lesson when I started this match, it's hard for me to come up with one on the spot and to remember what I was talking about earlier in the video, so that I don't go over the points. Did he scried top? All right, so he's probably gonna get a land and then have something. Yes. Your luck is terrible. There's no shame in that. Sorry about that. Alright, let's see if I draw a land. So if I don't draw... Okay, well... That's just not really fair. So, to try to go back to teaching general lessons about affinity, or the affinity mirror specifically, it's funny because both sides have a whole bunch of basically cards that trade off against each other extremely easily. Like, it's really easy to trade your Scourge or your Nexus or, you know, whatever for their other Scourge, Nexus, whatever, because you just have a whole bunch of 1/1s. The thing is that both sides are capable of making one creature really, really deadly. Yeah, I'm just gonna play the grid here. That seems brutal. Then I'm gonna just start playing stuff. Anyways, because both sides can make something really, really deadly, but at the same time it's really easy to trade off against those things. Like, if I equip up a Vault Scourge and attack for 9, if he takes the 9, I'm so far ahead. But if he just trades off with another Vault Scourge, then it doesn't really matter. So what ends up happening is your goal when you're playing the mirror is either to run over your opponent super quickly or to get ahead in as many incremental ways as possible by like forcing slightly beneficial trades for you over and over and over again, or you know, protecting your piece that matters more until one person sees an opening that they're like, ah, I can punish this opening, now I will kill you. And I notice a lot of affinity players leave way more openings than they should because they get too aggressive. This is, I mean, unless you have the hand where you run over your opponent because you have everything and they have nothing, this is a matchup where the more patient person will probably win. Of course, like, everything I say is my perspective, and if you disagree with me, you're entirely entitled to do that, blah, 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 but those have been my experiences. He's got a grudge, the other plating here, right? And then I animate Nexus and swing with both. Yeah, either ask in the comments about the mirror match if you're interested, or send me a message on Reddit or something. ZYRN on Reddit. I think this is one of the most skill testing mirrors I've played and or seen. And so I really like it. Ugh. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh, anyways, yeah. Let me know what you think about the Affinity Mirror, if you see this and are curious. I just see so many mistakes from people, including me, while playing it, that I feel like there's a lot of room to master it, despite the fact that there's so many one-sided stomps. Like, this is pretty much a stomp because, you know, he mulliganed to 5 and kept nothing. But there's a lot of really close games, and I feel like the close games so often result in someone who has the worst board winning, because the person with the better board thinks that because they have a better board they're going to win, and then does something reckless and then gets punished for it. Like, the last GP I went to, I won against a guy who played steel turn 1 Steel Overseer on the play, against me on the draw, who did not have a great hand, because I managed to get him to stall out and not, you know... Okay, this is a horrible mistake. The reason this is a horrible mistake is because you're putting yourself dead on board to me drawing another artifact. You're sort of locked into holding that Ancient Grudge for the Inkmoth Nexus because I have the Ravager in play, and so basically, yeah, you just put yourself dead on board to me drawing another artifact for no particular reason. I mean, like, actually, despite feeling super far behind, the grids are almost completely blank by the fact that you've destroyed all of the artifacts, and now you have a Master of Ethereum. So between that, you've kind of blanked both grids, which means I've got, like, a Ravager and an Inkmoth and had a Cranial Plating against 2 Grudges and this. Like, you almost came back from this, and I'm not even joking on that comment. Like, if I draw air right here, like, this is mostly air and is almost completely irrelevant if you hadn't just opened yourself up to lethal this turn. So there was very possibly a path to victory for my opponent here. Except for the whole, like, putting himself really, really dead on board. Like, this is what I'm saying. There are so many areas where you can maximize your value by being patient and thinking, how does my opponent kill me next turn? And how do I prevent them from killing me next turn? Because, you know, holding up a blocker, holding up a removal spell, holding up this or that. There have been turns where I had, like, a bunch of a small amount of stuff, 3 lands, a bunch of awesome cards to do. I was behind on board, but I did not attack or cast any spell while I was behind because I knew I was probably dead if I did that. And I was patient, and I waited, and I let them play into my things and trade off, and eventually I found a path to come out ahead because my opponent was impatient and I was patient. So, really, yeah, I guess the whole point of this rant is, in the Affinity mirror match, the key is being patient until you can kill your opponent. Sounds like a good way to end the video. Thanks for watching.